Hello, my name
Hello.
is Ann Smith, and on behalf of the Women's Task Force of the Parliament of World Religions, I welcome you all to an interfaith, intergenerational conversation honoring Mother Earth, our mothers, ourselves, and one another. Candle is lit. Now make sure you're on mute, please. So sit back, relax. After this recorded session, which will be about an hour, we have 30 minutes for questions and new insights, those ahas, anything that has inspired you to share with others. We can just now sit, and I get to sit and relax because it's going to be Charline Manuel who guides the conversation as our moderator. And Charline is an ordained minister of Unity Church, consultant to faith-based organizations, and active in peace and community work. She is the first ordained woman to serve as the chair of the Parliament of World Religions. And the minute she took this job, we have inundated her with all kinds of things to do. This being one of them, and it is a very, very big job. So thank you for Charline for saying yes to be the moderator. And now I'm turning it over to you, and I'm going to mute myself.
Wow. Well, thank you, Anne. Well, it is certainly an honor, and it is a joy, actually, to chair the Board of Trustees of the Parliament of the World's Religions. I'm so grateful, and thank you for inviting me to moderate today's session. Welcome, everyone, to Honoring Mother Earth, our mothers, ourselves, and one another. It is fitting that on the weekend that many of us will acknowledge and celebrate our biological mothers, or those who have been maybe a mother figure in our lives, like grandmothers, aunts, older sister, godmother, stepmother, whatever. There have been many people in our lives who may not have the official title of mother, but they have loved us and supported us and cared for us. So it's only fitting that on a weekend like this that we should also honor Mother Earth, the mother of us all. So happy Mother's Day to all of those who have nurtured, cared for, and loved others from the divine mother spirit within us all. Again, welcome. Today, we're going to take some time to appreciate, honor, and celebrate one of the most profound manifestations of love experienced in all of creation. It is the natural, caring, nurturing interconnectedness that binds us to our planet, our mothers, ourselves, and each other. In honoring Mother Earth, we recognize the vital role she plays in sustaining life for all creatures and providing us with the resources needed to not only survive, but to thrive. Yes, similarly, those who hold the role of mother in our lives, they nurture us, they guide us, they direct us, they correct us, they offer us unconditional love and support throughout our lives. And there is also a sacred bond that we have with ourselves and others. And we see that revealed in the ideal behind something that we all know about, we all understand, and it is the golden rule. It is a teaching that is available and prominent in nearly all of the world's religions. And it just says this simply, we all know it: do unto others as we would have them do unto us. Friends, there's no getting around it. We're all in this thing called life together. And the sooner we recognize that and begin to realize that the better off we will be. Today is just a reminder that there is a sacred connection that binds Earth, humanity, and all those we share this planet with. Today, we're going to explore some of the themes that speak to why and how we honor Mother Earth and each other. How we have a real opportunity before us to appreciate our planet and thereby lift the quality of life for ourselves and future generations. The communities where we live, setting in motion a transformation of consciousness toward a sustainable mindset and a bright future. I'm joined today by three phenomenal women who are, in their own right, making a difference in the world and moving all of us towards shaping a future that honors the earth, honors the relationships that we have with the planet, and honor the relationships we have with each other. So first, I take this opportunity to welcome all three of them. First, great-grandmother Mary Lyons, the Ojibwe elder, a spiritual advisor, storyteller, and wisdom keeper. I always love saying that, the wisdom keeper. She travels and teaches internationally with the indigenous grandmothers of the sacred we. Next, Dr. Catherine Meeks, founder and director of Turquoise and Lavender Institute for Transformation and Healing. She blends scholarly excellence with heartfelt activism, shaping her as a distinguished voice in sociocultural studies and a beacon for community transformation. Last but not least, Kehkashan Basu is an ecofeminist and a trustee of the Parliament of the World's Religions. She is a United Nations human rights champion and the founder of a global socio-innovative enterprise, Green Hope Foundation. Thank you all for being here, ladies. We really appreciate having you, and welcome. I'll ask each of our speakers to just give an opening statement of just 3 or 4 minutes. And after the opening statements, then we'll move into some dialogue, some questions, and go further into this wonderful conversation of honoring Mother Earth, ourselves, and others, and our mothers. So let's get started. Let's start with a great-grandmother. Your opening statement.
First of all, I'd like to say, thank you. And it's an honor to sit in this space with each one of you. And also, I would like to acknowledge the land that I'm on. Currently, right now, I am south of Minneapolis and I'm on Dakota land. So I want to honor the Dakota people for which I reside in within their territory. So I always say when we're in individual people's territories, it's always really good to acknowledge them and to thank the original gardeners of these lands and out there. And I always promise to make sure that I do my due diligence along with my motherly and grandmotherly care that I have while I'm in their space. So it's an honor to be with you all. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you. Dr. Catherine.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for taking the time on this Saturday to come and join us as we explore this wonderful conversation and the issue of honoring the earth, honoring Mother Earth, that has so much to do with saving ourselves. Yesterday, when we were preparing for this, grandmother said that the earth will be here, but we won't if we don't get on a different track. And I was thinking about that this morning because we talk so much about destroying the planet, but perhaps we need to rephrase that and realize the planet can outlive us. But I think it's so important to understand the connection we have with each other which serves to help us heal the earth and heal ourselves. So I am so thankful that we're having this conversation today, particularly here the day before Mother's Day.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And Kehkashan.
Thank you, Charlene. And hello, everyone. Delighted to share this space with all of you today. And yes, very, very honored to be in the presence of so many wonderful women and wonderful people who've dedicated their lives to creating a better world and, are honoring Mother Earth every day. I'm joining you from Toronto, Canada, and I'd like to acknowledge that Toronto is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. And this discussion today of honoring Mother Earth, it's something that it's not only essential for our physical survival, but also for maintaining the sacred relationship that humans have with the natural world that we've had forever and somehow have forgotten that we've kind of had that. We've seen how in so many cultures, Mother Earth is revered as this living, nurturing force, much like an actual mother who provides sustenance and shelter. So my work over the past more than a decade has focused on ensuring that we're not seen as separate from nature, but as intrinsically connected to it, and especially in the face of so many environmental disasters, socioeconomic inequities. It's so important for us to recognize the earth as a sacred living entity and encourage one another to be more respectful and responsible towards how we interact with not just our natural environment, but with all denizens of Mother Earth. So really wonderful to be here with all of you today.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Y'all raised some things that started me thinking, in your mind, what are some of the things we can really do to drive home the importance of that interconnectedness that we have with the earth and with each other? What can we do? I mean, we say that, we talk about climate change, and there are some things being done, but in the minds and hearts of individuals, can you share with us things that we might do to really drive this home to people, that to move from a space of, me, myself, and I, what I want, to this collective we have a role and a responsibility to steward the planet and to love the planet as we would those who mother us in our lives. Any thoughts about how we really drive that home, or some things that we might consider doing? Who wants to go first on that? Mary, where's grandmother? I can't see her on my screen. Dr. Catherine?
Grandmother's got her hand up.
Oh, she does. Okay.
Yeah.
I've got everybody on my screen so I can't see.
Oh, well, to the audience out there, you're going to hear so many beautiful messages. And I think the message for me is sometimes, no matter how old you are, you still always have this ability to learn, right? My father used to say, you're going to enter this world as a student and you're going to leave this world as a student. And within this world of learning, you have to learn what got us here. You can't really forget about the past and go into a future with the unknown of just trying to be there. And I guess what I'm saying is, if we look back at the basic fundamentals, and we believe everything on this planet has a spirit, it's life. We're all connected. We're all this oneness. Because when we come into this planet, our spirit enters our mother's womb, takes 9 months to download all this memory and build this beautiful, beautiful armor around our spirit that's called the body. And just like the computers that we're on, it's got full of memory. And we know that water and everything within this planet carries memory because everything is living. It has memory. And I guess what I'm trying to say is you have to hold on to that memory. You cannot disconnect from that memory in order to think you're going to have a better future because you're going to be walking into a space of unknown. So you see, and many people have heard me say this because, they say to my people, what are those seven teachings? What are those seven generations? And for me, and when anybody expresses it, they're all right. It all depends on what, the education they're going to be bringing forth, because I sat with my mother, my grandmother, and my great-grandmother. Today, I sit with my daughter, my granddaughter, and my great-granddaughter. And I am the seventh generation that holds and combines these memories together from the past. And I know when my great-granddaughter sits in the spot that I'm at, she will be the seventh generation, because then she'll be speaking about me and my daughter and her mother, as well as the offspring before her. So that history is really, really alive. But getting to the elements in that there, you have to remember is that when our spirit swam in those oceans within our mother's womb, that's water. And when we took that first breath, when we entered this space we call our home, Mother Earth, was air. And we felt the warmth of everything around us. That's fire that comes from the sun and everything else. And then we planted and we nourished off from earth 4 elements. That's it. Anything within this planet has that relationship. You can't live without not one of them in order to think we're going to be in the future. And the craziest thing people forget is those 4 elements shows no prejudice to our sky relatives, our water relatives, our forest relatives, our human relatives, anything within the embrace of our Mother Earth and out there. She gifted us those 4 elements to be in her space. She gifted us very, very limited gardens for us to be on, to take care of, to nourish, and to exist on. So when we look at the memory, such as if we harm the water, which is very limited to us without that salt water with the relatives in that water can live on much longer than us. But what we're dumping in there is, we're bringing havoc into their homes. We don't want anybody to come into our living room and dump a bunch of stuff or do whatever it is. So we have to be respectful. So within that memory, I'm saying is, when that water is going underground and looking for the plant life, and if that's removed, it takes away some of that memory of that passage for that water, so it'll go some other place. Those trees are like straws, and when it absorbs that water and goes into the branches and fills all this beautiful stuff, those are filters, and it helps bring all this clean air to us and that there. And when they're gone, we're starting to remove memory. And when we remove memory, we're creating havoc to us as humans and everything around us. So that connection within that relationship for humanity and everything within this planet, when we say we are all relatives, it's an understanding that a young person needs to know, I need to take care of them because those are my relatives. I need to be careful what I put within that water and all that life in there because those are my relatives. I don't want to harm. So that's what I would like to gift within this brief, because I myself, just like the audience, I'm so excited to hear from the other speakers. So I'm going to leave you with that. But what a great question. Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. Dr. Mary or Kehkashan? Dr. Mary? Dr. Catherine. Sorry.
I would love to hear Kehkashan first.
Oh, okay.
Sure. Well, thank you for that question. As a grassroots actor, that's literally my entire work, where we focus on turning knowledge into ground level action and honoring Mother Earth with every single action that we take. The very first thing I too would like to echo is the importance of education, because what we've seen is that the way our children are taught what success means, it's all about the monetary gain. You earn a lot of money, you're successful, but they're not taught that being a good person, taking care of people and planet also equals success. So our work focuses first on education for sustainable development, and most especially empathy education. So teaching children, like right from their childhood, the importance of caring for one another, caring for their community, for their families, for their surroundings, and that includes Mother Earth. And children are born with this intrinsic love for everything and everyone around them. And somehow that's taken away as they grow older with the way, the world works. But so we try to ensure that they keep that throughout, not just in their childhood, but well into adulthood as well. And over, like, my organization turns 13 this year. Over the last 12 and a half years, we have been working to really create this long-term change so that the children we worked with so many years ago are now adults who are actually leading positive change within their own spheres of influence. And so once we impart this education, we then turn that into ground level action. And we know that working in so many different parts of the world, the solutions and the actions that we take, they don't have to be the same. In fact, they shouldn't be the same, because there isn't a one size fits all solution or action that we can take to reverse all of the damage that has been done. And so we work in 28 countries with over 500,000 people. So our everyday goal is to make sure that every action that we take is tailored to meet the unique needs and wants of the communities that we work in. And our focus is also really on women and girls who have traditionally been left behind. And we always find that so strange, because women and girls are the ones who hold the knowledge of food, of water, of survival, of connectedness with nature within these communities, and yet their knowledge is ignored. And that just, puts greater pressure on them when they're already fighting against all of the inequities that exist. So I wanted to take the opportunity to share some of the examples of the actions that we take and how that honors Mother Earth. So, focusing on biodiversity conservation, that's like a very obvious one, but we have planted over 1.5 million indigenous trees all around the world, over 500,000 mangroves, and we do this to help protect not just our animals and plants and insects and birds, but also the human beings who depend on the mangroves, for instance, to protect them from climate change-induced sea storms. We focus on waste management. So, for instance, cleaning up the fjords of Norway, to the canals of Netherlands, to the beaches of Oman and Suriname, keeping the turtle nesting sites clean to allow for turtles there to nest and to make sure that we are protecting this very endangered species. We work on food security in different parts of the world. In the Sundarbans, which is the world's largest mangrove forest, spanning eastern India and Bangladesh, we are now working on empowering and uplifting tiger widows, so women who've lost their husbands to tiger attacks, using entrepreneurship, so fish farming, poultry, so chicken and duck farming, as a way to kind of remove the stigma that is already associated with widowhood, and even more so with the way they lost their husbands, providing them with a sense of empowerment wherein they keep part of the fish and the chickens and the ducks for themselves. They sell the rest, and they're able to earn a stable source of income that they then use to support their families and to support the ecosystems around them. We have our organic farm here in Canada where it's solar powered. We grow so many different kinds of fruits and vegetables that we then donate to the food banks in the region. We work on ensuring that women and girls have access to their sexual and reproductive health and rights. So we have a solar-powered Academy of Hope for women and girls in rural Bangladesh, where we run sewing classes every day for the women and girls. And part of that includes them making sanitary napkins for the women in the climate disaster zones, because their health is like right there. It's not even on the priority list. So protecting the women and protecting the communities around them. We take into account women's health, well-being, and safety, not just their physical safety, but their psychological safety as well. So in the climate disaster zones, so often they feel unsafe coming out of their homes in the evenings. Girls don't feel safe going to school at dawn. And so, because there's no street lights, there's no light at night. And that means that their risk of being exposed to rape, trafficking, abuse is it goes up tenfold. And so we build solar streetlights in climate disaster zones in Liberia, in rural Bangladesh, in rural Cambodia to provide these safe spaces. We also work to provide clean drinking water to communities around the world. So in Cambodia and in Kiribati, which is a small island developing state in climate disaster zones, we build solar water farms to provide the basic human right of clean drinking water. And that's a tiny kind of snippet of all the work that we do. There's so much more that we do. You know, we build toilets in climate disaster zones. We have solar computer labs that provide education and STEM education to girls in climate vulnerable communities. But the bottom line is that, you know, we try to make sure that every single action that we take it takes into account our planet, our society, and we want to make sure that the people who are around us and the people that we work with know that this empathy is absolutely essential if we are to create any kind of positive change. And so whatever action that you take, if you're taking it being conscious of the planet and the community, then that is a successful action. And that is something that we try to propagate. And that's what we've been doing for more than a decade now.
Wow.
My goodness.
Do you ever get to sleep, Kehkashan?
No, I don't sleep. Much to the chagrin of my parents. But honestly, the work is like the results we see, it's so worth it, whether it's bringing a smile on someone's face or seeing a tree that we planted 5 years ago grow into one that gives us shade and fruit and sustenance. So yeah, it's worth it.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Dr. Catherine.
What an amazingly wonderful commentary. And I just want to listen to you all day. And I want to be a part of what you're doing. Thank you so much. It's so wonderful and uplifting to hear. So I'm 79 years old, and I have spent the last 50 years trying to work in the United States of America to help us learn that people who are different can live here together and respect each other and appreciate one another and grow from each other's engagement with each other. And this is how we honor ourselves and we honor the earth and we honor the life we've been given. So I have a lot of commitment to the understanding that if you don't work on the stuff inside of you that is dividing you and causing you conflict, that you will do nothing else in the world that matters. So I think a bunch of people are doing a lot of good outer work, but they're not doing any inner work. And if you don't do the inner work, it will destabilize the outer work. And so we have got to learn a little bit better that about if we want to make a difference in any way, that we need to make sure we're taking care of ourselves, that we need to make sure we're confronting those things in us that actually contribute to helping to injure the earth because we haven't dealt with them. Now, the only reason why you could do that is that you come to a full understanding of the interconnections of all living things on the planet. And I think too many people on our planet, and particularly in the United States, where I find myself, have no real sense of how we're connected. This is one of the many ills of having a capitalist-driven society that only thinks about the individual and what you can get and how you get it. And at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is what you got for yourself. We have got to work on reversing that notion. And for me, one of the tools for that is to become more generous. Generosity will teach you to let go of some of that stuff inside of yourself that is afraid the universe is not, after all, abundant. All you need to do is watch a few birds and go outside and see how things live that don't have to worry about that issue of abundance and try to practice that a little. So I'm pretty evangelistic about the notion of generosity and kindness being tools that can help us become the people we need to be. And this is how you got to care about yourself, because if you don't have anything to project into the world. You can't care, not truly care about anything else on this planet if you don't care about yourself. And in this country, we've done a bad job of that. We have done too many things to create polarization and disparateness, and we're right now in the middle of it. And we have got to stop ourselves, sit down, be still, and get a grip on ourselves. And I think that's one of the ways we honor Mother Earth, who is inviting us, who is tired of us with our foolishness, and inviting us to take a minute, take a breath, and reorganize ourselves. So I'm there for reorganization of the inner life that helps the outer life be manifested in a way that's sustainable.
Yes, Dr. Catherine, I think Mother Earth is very tired of our foolishness. Thank you for that. Real quick, I want to say to our participants here today, if you have a question you'd like to ask, go ahead and put it in the chat. I'm not sure that we will get to those questions before we close, but we are the presenters. We're going to stay on a little bit after the session and address some of those questions. So if you'd like to have a question addressed, go ahead and put it in the chat and we'll reach back when we can after the session. So just want to give you that opportunity, because there is so much rich material. If we had hours and hours to stay here, I know I'd have a bunch of questions. So next for my panelists, I want to go in this direction. The Parliament of the World's Religions signature document is the Global Ethic. And some of you may be familiar with it. If not, we're going to put the link in the chat. But the Global Ethic identifies 5 directives that if we as a society would implement, we could transform our way of life, not just for ourselves, but the generations to come. The 5th directive of the Global Ethic speaks to honoring the planet and Mother Earth. And it specifically titles itself A Commitment to a Culture of Sustainability and Care for the Earth. That's the 5th directive of the Global Ethic. So my question to my very talented, skilled, knowledgeable members here on the panel is, can you talk a little bit about what could the future look like if one by one community at a time, we were to adopt a commitment to a culture of sustainability and care for the earth? What could that look like, even if we, took the small step of saying community by community, we're going to do something, and what could that look like?
Well, I have thought about this a lot, because every day when I drive anywhere around in Atlanta, I see people living outdoors and sleeping on the concrete. And I think that one of the first things we would do if we could move in this direction is we would make sure that everybody had the basic things that they needed everybody would have somewhere to sleep that was right, a good place for them, and food and the basic necessities. There is no sense in anybody on this planet not having what they need, considering how much we waste things. But I spend most of my time in the United States and in the southern United States. So that's the place from which I speak. We have resources to take care of everybody if we could get past our selfishness and our greed. So if we were serious about developing this kind of culture that honored ourselves and Mother Earth, we would see everybody as a blessed being that needed to have what they needed. And we would get off of this hierarchy of human value nonsense that we keep practicing, where I'm supposed to be better because I've got 3 degrees and you're not because you live under the bridge. And basically, we're both the same people, created by the same creator and loved by that creator equally. So that for me, I daydream about writing. If I can't make it happen, I can write a novel or something about having communities that really do care about and take care of each other, so that there's nobody that doesn't have what they need. Now, getting into what you want is a completely different subject, but what you need. So that's my dream. I dream about that a lot, and I do my best every day to contribute to making that happen.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you so much. Yes, beautiful. Other ladies?
Oh dear. All I can say is, oh dear. You know, it's not even opening the can of worms in this stuff because, the work I do with the indigenous peoples, part of the UN and with a lot of indigenous groups that I do, within the United States and within Canada and North America. I think we're pretty blessed, and what we complain about is nothing near what happens on the other side of the world. So when we really look at preventions in that there, what we have to do, at least within the United States, pretty much globally, as for me, is get rid of the alcohol. Alcohol has just beaten the blanket of the body up through since the beginning of time. And I think I've said this at the Parliament in one of the beginnings of the women's session, and I spoke about this, ever since, when they made that first drop and what happened within it, the tarnishment of water, and that there became the toxicity, the poisons that still is legally free throughout the world and that there. And when we have to look at any of our family members or what's going on in this world, the attachment with alcohol and drugs and that there. So you have to look at the big pharmas and that there. So, people are just nothing but a belt of product out there, how they can get you, because, when you really think about, especially when I drive by, nor do I judge in that there if I bring a sandwich or if I bring $1 or whatever it is to a person that might maybe living in these tent cities and that there. It takes a lot of money for them to be there. It costs a lot of money to be high. It costs a lot of money to drink. I mean, but they got them. They're still there's a profit off them. So there's a profit off from people that I would like to see lessened. The other part of that story and the flip side in this stuff, our young lady on the panel is doing beautiful work. But realistically, we shouldn't even be there. We shouldn't be having to continue to make the band-aids for what is happening in these communities. We shouldn't even be having to put lamps up to have our girls safe. Even in the indigenous people world, even with around the globe and out there, we have missing and murdered indigenous peoples here. That I myself was part of the ones that passed the first bill here in Minnesota with our group here. So they would hear and see us as the brown and black communities of what's happening that never went anywhere. But that happens all over the globe. So we really have to look at that flip side, that dark side that nobody really talks about. And that's that masculinity, that chauvinistic, that male thing of taking it and doing whatever they please. And then how do we make that world safe? We even talked about this in our last closed discussion and that there is, how do we switch this around So there's many solutions, and I think every person that's listening to this has a solution. And I think if we implement the solutions within our thoughts and this stuff, they always say this glass is empty, but if each person even put a tear in it there, it would be filled within no time. And it could nurse, somebody that you can nourish a garden, you can feed a community, you can start building positive in this world. So I think it's really having to think about that and really talk about conversations that nobody talks about. And I talk about those hard conversations. Knowledge holders and the elders in that there, along with the young people that I travel with and have these communications with, we talk about that darkness. We bring it to light. We have to go in and we have to go into the governments and out there. And it's sad that we have to push bills. It's sad that we have to march. It's sad that we have to be protectors, not protesters, but protectors of who we are within on this planet. The fact is, we're here. This is reality. This is the world we live in. This is the world we all took part in creating. I say to young people, I apologize for my naughtiness of wanting to be where I'm at today, not knowing that this is the backlash that you would have to suffer even after I'm gone. So I'm back in there. I'm back in those front lines with those young people. I'm back in the front lines against government. The thing is, I believe in the Creator so much that I see myself on the other side. But I know it's not going in there with hatred, with argument and that there. It's going in there with some type of communication to build those bridges, to make that awareness out. And how do we make that connection of that darkness, to say this is so wrong what we're doing to humanity, not even to humanity, but what we're doing to all the sky relatives, the water relatives, our forest relatives. How do we get back to what creation and Creator intended us to be? How do we get back to that format? It saddens me, even though I just smile when these young people tell me, or even whatever organization tells me all the wonderful stuff they're doing. But that flip side, it saddens me that we got to this space that we have to still be mending and putting band-aids on and doing everything else. It saddens me so great that we are still creating more of these organizations instead of lessening them to bring back humanity where it should be in a balance of kindness. So, like I said, there's no answer. There's no easy answer to it. It's just doing the best you can and being thankful each time you wake up and you take that breath of air. And what are you going to do with that kindness and the warmth within you so you can rest your head at night saying, I did the best I can, even if it was just even 15 seconds out of your life. It's even like smiling at those individuals, those little kids, without even criticizing them or where they're at, or even if they're homeless, smiling at them, because that energy, that gift, that healing within your good energy gives them hope that can awaken the love and everything in them. So the thing is, just be the best you can. I think it's a great question, but when it comes to reality, I always say, and people don't like it when I say, fluff is always good, but the reality is we don't live in a fluffy world. We just don't. And, but we can get back to it. We can get back to it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. Beautiful. Kehkashan.
Sure. Yeah. Honestly, with the work that we do every single day, the first thought we have is like, how did it come to this? And why did we let it come to this situation? And we know why, we know how, but it's still like, as human beings with basic empathy, it's really mind-boggling that, we'd see the communities that we work with in the situations that they are in. And we're like, okay, no one else is doing it. And these are the communities that have been left behind, their well-being and health and the nature around them as well. It's like it's not on any kind of priority list. So we're like, okay, with literally the least amount of funding possible, because let's face it, the work, the grassroots actors that we do, like, it's not financed enough. It's not financed at all at times. We're the ones who go out there and we're the ones who are taking that action, even though those institutions with way more funds and who do actually have the prerogative to go out there and take action, they're the ones who should be doing it, but they don't. And so that is why we're like, okay, as empathetic, responsible global citizens who live on this Mother Earth, who see this as a responsibility that we have to give back to Mother Nature, to give back to our community, and just do our bit as human beings. This is what we want to do out there. This is what we do to create that change all around the world. So yeah, you know, it's we have seen the impact. It's really slow at times. Sometimes it's immediate, sometimes it's really, really slow. But what we have seen is like the importance of kind of keeping at it and not letting the hopelessness creep in, because that can really destroy what we try to build. And the way we do that is through the small everyday actions that we keep the hope alive in that way, and then we are able to kind of continue to create that positive change all around the world. One thing that I would say that if we are like, is very, very much needed if we are to create a fully sustainable world. I mean, I'm saying this as someone who works in all aspects of sustainability. I think that addressing that, like moving away from the militarism that our world kind of is in right now, and that includes moving away and abolishing nuclear weapons, is extremely important. I think that's something that's not talked about enough. We work a lot, like part of our education programs focus on disarmament education. So we remove all of the secrecy that exists around nuclear weapons and weapons of mass destruction. But yeah, that is like, if one thing that I would definitely say is we need to completely do away with, because all of these other things that we're doing can be wiped out in the blink of an eye, because we have weapons of mass destruction that exist, and the money that goes to building these weapons of mass destruction, like trillions of dollars, that literally can be used to fund all of the things that we are trying to do, the good for the world, whether that's powering health equity, water security, food security, education, safe spaces. All of this is like, the work that we do is, very, very interconnected. And that is why I just wanted to put that out there, that, okay, if there was one thing that I would kind of want completely done away with, and would definitely help us continue the work and create peace, that will be doing away and abolishing the weapons of mass destruction that currently do exist. And yeah, making sure people know about that this is something that we really need to do away with, and then continue to create a better future and more peaceful future within our own spheres of influence.
And can I say one other quick thing?
Yes, please. Yes.
So, in addition to these lovely things that both grandmother and Kehkashan has said, what we have not said, this is being presented by the Parliament of the World's Religions. There are a whole bunch of folks on the planet who confess to having some kind of religious, spiritual perspective. And we people who make such confessions need to stop being complicit with the systems that are doing the things that are causing us to be in the shape we're in. We have allowed ourselves to be lulled into looking more like those systems than looking like what our particular founders, no matter what religion, is calling us to be. And we need to take a good look at ourselves. And I'm one of the most ardent critics of Christianity in the United States. And some people don't care to hear it. But the truth is, we claim to be something that we're not practicing, and we become complicit with the systems that are being destructive, and then we want to talk about how to fix it. One of the ways to fix it is to keep it from happening. And I think I'm really just wanting to make sure that we don't let that pass, that's the first place to start. Accountability so that what you say you believe, make sure you're living that. And if you're not, then talk about what you are living, because that will be more helpful.
Oh, that's excellent. And we're nearing this time where we have to conclude our conversation, and it's just getting started, it feels like. But Dr. Catherine, you raised such an important point because the Parliament of the World's Religions, we're open to hearing and being tolerant and to embrace all religions. We don't all have to agree on everything that is being taught. But what you said is, if your religious teaching is what it is, are we really living that? And if we did that, we would be in not only in integrity with ourselves, and also be in integrity with the religious teachings that we, love to preach at other people. And are we really doing that? And that's such an important point. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to also bring up that global ethic, because so many religious leaders have signed on to that document. And you're absolutely right to say, yeah, we should all, honor the earth. We should believe in nonviolence. We should believe in gender equality, those things that are talked about in the global ethic. But how much of that are we actually putting into practice in our day-to-day lives? It's a call to say, pull up the mirror and say, what am I doing? And how am I making a contribution to this world that I complain about when the news comes on, but at the end of the day, I'm not really living up to who I am and the best of who I am. So thank you so much for that. It is time. I think I want to be very careful and very mindful of our time. So I'm looking at Anne and saying, do we have time for just a 1-minute wrap up from each of our speakers before we end? And yes. It looks like, yes?
Yes.
Okay, so let's just take a 1-minute, just final word you want to leave with us, only because we want to end right on time. So just give us your 1-minute elevator speech
Okay,
on where we go from here.
I can go first. I work on a lot of documentaries, and I think one of the things is water is really important, and we've been really at a struggle at this, but I think it's a very, very important documentary. If you get a time, look up Thirst for Justice, and it's by Liana Hosea. I put it in the chat there. And also I am part of the executive producer. I'm working on it. And it's really important to look at the free world in water and what happens globally around the water and what happens at the actions and the cost, even in the free world, of what we're doing of trying to bring awareness to water, because the water we have today and the stuff that we bring to the water has no life in it. And what we want to do is save a lot of those watersheds in out there where it produces a lot of the minerals and the stuff that human beings and everybody that needs to have that consumption of that organic water in them. So that's one of them. The second thing is to really think about it. It took us less than 150 years to be in this position. Our organic gardens and the way we used to live before, never had a lot of dollar prices on it. So I think, the blanket of that is just of darkness and this stuff always comes with a price. You can't eat money. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And I would really like to invite everyone who's a part of this conversation today to find some time between now and the end of tomorrow, which is Mother's Day, to sit with yourself and think very seriously about the way you are engaging yourself in the world, and to see where is a tiny step that you can make that pushes you beyond where you are and contributing to bring more light, to make more light possible to shine. Because at the very end of the day, what we do as individuals becomes a collective, and we need to be clear about what we can bring to the table. Everybody here today is here because you care, and you have got plenty things to bring to the table. So I just want to ask you to work on being a half a shade braver and taking a bigger step out of that space.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Kehkashan, got the last word.
Yes, I think educating yourself, educating your family, educating your community, and turning that education into action is really important. Thinking that oh, I know everything. I know there are a lot of terrible things happening. I know a lot of things need to be done. Like that's moving forward with that mindset is not going to really help us. I think that truly taking the time to see how best you yourself can contribute to creating a better world is really, really important. And for that to happen, you need to have empathy and fall back on the values that a lot of our previous generations did take into account. For me, like doing that on a daily basis, I am Hindu, and I grew up with the concept of Bhumi Devi, who is our Mother Earth, within Hindu philosophy. And so I think about that and the fact that, whenever I'm like, oh my gosh, what needs to be done, I fall back on those values that were taught to me growing up. And then I'm like, okay, I can definitely draw on those values and then think about a way that we can actively create positive change and then turn that learning into action. So that would kind of be my kind of final thing to say. I feel like we all have the power to bring about change. We all have change making potential within us. It's just now literally up to us to be able to harness that and see how best we can contribute to creating a more just, equitable, and sustainable world.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. I want to take this opportunity to thank our speakers today, great-grandmother Mary Lyons, Dr. Catherine Meeks, Kehkashan Basu, and I'm Reverend Charline Manuel, Chair of the Parliament of the World's Religions. And it has been an honor to be with you today and thank all of you for taking the time to celebrate and honor Mother Earth and mothers ourselves with each other today. I'm going to turn this over to Ann Smith, the chairperson of the Women's Task Force of the Parliament.
Wow. Well, what an amazing banquet of food for thought and action. I can't thank you all enough for first saying yes when I called you and asked you if you would do this, and then the wealth of wisdom and actions that we can also take part for ourselves. But it's been an amazing conversation. And I want to thank the Parliament for helping to make this happen. For Jessica, if she's still on so you can see her, she is our brand new communicator. Just started this week when I said, can you do a flyer? And she did it. And Nitin, who has been helping us, who's the past chair of the board, who's been helping us with the technology. This would not have happened. But I want to thank the speakers for saying yes. I want to thank the staff of the Parliament for saying yes. And I want to thank all of you for being here. And I know that each one of you will take home and do something. And I love this whole thing that they talk about. We go from our head to our heart to our hands. Mm-hmm. And so let's all do that. And we will have more of these, I promise you. So this conversation is one that will be recorded, as we said, and you'll be able to find that on the Parliament's website, and you'll be able to find that in the green tent circle under events. And you can share that with others and hold your own conversation. Because that's what I love, is being in a sacred circle where we speak from our hearts and we share the information and then look at the wisdom that grows from that. So we're going to stop the recording.